Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home.
Welcome, everybody, to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. It is a great day to be alive. We're just coming off of the Make Peace with Food incredible retreat that we had. Oh, my goodness. So beautiful to be with so many beautiful women and a few smart men who want to change their relationship with food and begin to have it be peaceful instead of disharmonious at best and torturous at worst. So yeah, it was incredible. Thank you if you were there. Thanks for bringing your heart. Thanks for bringing your enthusiasm, your love for each other. Yeah, our events are just so special. They're so special, so intimate. So like we get work done. We move the needle. You know, we definitely move the needle. So if you weren't there, you got to be with us next time for whenever we're cooking up. So speaking of cooking up, I have an amazing guest today who teaches people how to enjoy greens and yummy herbs and actually grow them, you know, as well. So she's amazing. And I'm really excited to introduce you to her. If you haven't joined us in the Secret Sauce group, definitely jump over there to the Facebook, the Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating. I do a lot of interviews there. We keep the conversation going there. It's a great place to start if you want community with other emotional eaters. Also, if you haven't taken the quiz yet on my website, healyourhunger.com, there's a quiz front and center there where you can learn if you're an emotional eater. You know, you may not know. You know, so not everybody is sure on this. You can actually take a quiz, which will help you determine if you're an emotional eater or a food addict or somewhere in between. So definitely take that quiz, get your personalized score, and then next steps. So jump over there. I'd say it takes like 3 minutes to take that quiz, but it's worth it. So definitely check that out. And now for my guest, Katie Oglesby is an edible garden designer and holistic health coach on a mission to help her clients to stop being passive participants in their health journeys and become courageous, informed advocates for their well-being. As a garden coach and real food advocate, she fuses the healing power of gardening with the healing power of food as medicine in her garden designs and holistic approach to a garden-to-table lifestyle. She literally makes gardens for people, okay, like that they can have in their backyard, or in my case, because I'm in LA in a condo, on my roof. So we're going to talk about that. It's a yummy conversation, pun intended, and she's just lovely. You know, it's time to fall in love with greens, right? It hasn't always been the case for us. And that's why this is such an important conversation, because we can have a new relationship with our greens. Welcome, Katie. So happy to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here, Tricia.
I am thrilled. As I said, I remember meeting you, but then when I saw you on my calendar, I didn't make the connection. So I'm like, who's this I'm interviewing? And then I was like, oh, it's the garden lady. I love her and I love what she does. So I'm super excited to have you here. This is a great topic for emotional eaters because we are trying to get healthier. We want to love our greens, you know, we want to love salads, but it's not always easy. You know, we've got scar tissue around greens being diet food. And so obviously as we heal our issues around food or deeper underlying causes of emotional eating, then we can start to love greens because they help us feel good about our bodies. They help us feel good in our bodies, but we need some guidance. Like how do we do this? You know, how do we make the most of it? How do we enjoy, you know, all the wonderful opportunities we have to, you know, eat and have great flavor. So thank you for being on the show.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, super cool. So will you talk about, first of all, the thing I really got excited about is these really cool gardens that you create, you know, and I know you're in Minnesota, so these are things that you're installing for people locally, but I started thinking, man, I'm in LA, if I could have one of those on my rooftop, I have a rooftop deck. I'm like, if I could have one of those gardens on my rooftop. That would be the coolest thing ever. Can you talk about what those are and sort of why people get so excited about them?
Yeah, so let's talk about this. So raised bed or container gardening makes gardening a lot easier. It's a little bit more user friendly. It's lower maintenance. We have a lot more control when it comes over to what we're growing, the quality of what we're growing. We just aren't battling a lot of things that we would like battle in ground. And it's great for people with small spaces, right? So let's talk about
So this is sort of like the difference between an in-ground pool versus above the ground pool. Can you just explain sort of what it is?
Yeah, so let's think like a lot of times when people think gardening, we think of the victory garden, right? Like we're outside with the hoe, we're in ground, we're weeding. It's just, there's a little bit of a negative connotation, right? It's going to suck up all of our time. But when we go above ground, so that's either like a raised wooden box, there's a lot of different materials you can use. Even if you use a big pot, we're controlling what goes in that growing or raised bed, which makes it a little bit easier. We aren't fighting certain weeds. We have a little bit more control. We aren't digging. We don't have to till up our backyard. We don't have any equipment.
Yeah.
It's a lot more user friendly. So, and then again, controlling what goes in the container is a big thing because everybody's soils are so differently. And that gets into a lot of like overwhelm where people are like, I don't want to deal with it. It sounds like it's too much, right? But we can do a lot more control. We can make it aesthetically a little more pleasing also with how we design and grow our home food.
That is super cool. So, and for me, because I'm in the city, I don't have a backyard. I'm in a condo.
Yes.
But I have a roof and I'm so excited to work with you and figure out how I can get a bed on my roof and have, grow a garden basically.
Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of different ways you can do it. So depending on your space, like even thinking through, so let's talk about leafy greens. You brought that up. Let's talk about leafy greens and herbs. That's kind of your gateway or entry point into gardening. They're the easiest. It's a great place to start if you've never grown anything, and they don't require a lot of space. And so, for example, I'm actually in Wisconsin, but so we're cold. And I want to get
my did I say November. I said forgive me, I said Minnesota. What a dork. I am so sorry.
Oh, yeah, you're good. So anyways, we have a little cold frame, which is irrelevant, but the point is it's a 4x4 section. So when I plant lettuce seeds in there, my husband and I can each have a salad a day in 16 square feet. So just for a point of reference, how much you can grow in a smaller area, right? So whether it's a little raised bed or Amazon has these great planter bowls. They're like 24 inches and you can put them on your patio tables and you can put lettuce seeds in there. So you can do pots, window boxes. It's just kind of rethinking what we're going to put in some of these things that maybe we traditionally would have done something else.
Yeah, I love that idea. Yeah.
And space is great because like I said, salad greens don't take up a lot of space and you can replant them every 30 to 60 days. And so thinking, once you get the hang of it and you start growing, you're like, okay, how easy it is to go out and cut it. It tastes much better than in the store, right? Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah, I want to hear about the difference. Why would we grow our own lettuce?
Yeah, so great question. So 98% of this country's greens come from two locations, California and Arizona. So depending on where you live, those greens are getting trucked 1,200, 1,500 miles before they even get to your grocery store to your plate. So when we're thinking about that, we don't know how they were cared for. They're not fresh like we think they are. We all buy the big things of spinach and it's slimy in 2 days, right? It's such a big disappointment.
Yeah.
It's a waste of money, even organic. And so we have nutrient density issues. We have a quality issue because they are more fragile. They're being trucked. There is a lot of foodborne illnesses that get outbreaks, right? We see kale, spinach, we see all of that very frequently. And so that's another thing to consider. And they're one of the most contaminated things because they're so soft. So from a pesticide standpoint, even organic still is testing positive for a couple of different residues on your greens. And so
is that right? I didn't know that.
They can still use certain applications and, the EWG has a great website. You can always look at the Dirty Dozen, but unfortunately spinach and kale are always kind of topping up there. So that's one thing that does kind of interfere with our health journeys, right? And with a lot of those goals. And so when we can eliminate that, my lettuce tastes much fresher. My spinach is a much better flavor when I can go quick harvest it. So to me, and there's a little bit more skin in the game when we tend to grow our own food. And I see it a lot with adults and children. We tend to eat it more. We've made a commitment, right? And that's also where the herbs come into play. Like I used to be a sugar addict. And so to transition your flavor, your tongue, your palate, that takes a while. And we look at what's in these spices in the spice aisle and some of the garbage that's in them. When you can start picking your fresh herbs and you incorporate them in your meal, your palate slowly changes, right? And that really helps with that transition into integrating more of those greens into your diet.
Yeah, I love that. And I love what you talked about commitment. I talk to my clients a lot about, when we do commit to eat, like preparing a meal versus having it, delivered to us, or frozen, let's say from Trader Joe's, as much as I love Trader Joe's, but when we are involved and invested in making that, preparing that, cutting the vegetables, making a salad dressing out of oil and vinegar and spices, it's first of all, it just feels good, but we're also, I think, sending a great message, to our subconscious that we matter, like we matter taking that time and putting that care into what goes into our body. And I think that just up levels our energy and our frequency and our sense of self-worth.
I couldn't agree more. That garden to table or farm table, that experience really gives you a different feeling even when you're sitting enjoying your meal. Like there's a little pride and sense of accomplishment that you grew it, you brought it to your plate, you fed yourself something nourishing, and I think there's so much more to be said. We've kind of forgotten that we have a little disconnect with our food.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. And good, yummy, pesticide-free foods do taste so good. So, okay. So we started talking about lettuces. Can you talk about herbs? Like, cause I'm ignorant about herbs, frankly. I'm ignorant about herbs, especially fresh herbs. The only fresh herbs I use are like dill. I have recipes we cook with dill and cilantro. I don't think cilantro is an herb, but a few greens, some fresh thyme sometimes, but I'd love to hear more about herbs because I know it can really change the flavor of your food.
Yeah, so let's just start with some basic herbs. So we have, I love Italian flat leaf parsley. It's really great for you. It's really easy to add that green sprinkling your food. Basil, rosemary, and thyme, phenomenal for salad dressings, flavor profiles. Cilantro is a herb. It's fantastic. It can be grown in different forms. We can talk more about that for the cilantro lovers. Yeah, I'd say the primary herbs, and dill is a great one, right? So for people to start changing and integrating into so whether you use them fresh, you have winter coming like me, so I'm drying them, or I'm vacuum sealing them for winter. I'm integrating them into my broths when I cook. I mean, we don't realize how much we can incorporate. And like you said, salad dressings, like there's another one. You can make an Italian one.
Just speak, I'm losing some of the big first words of what you're saying. So just maybe pick up your volume a little bit.
So a lot of those Italian, like when we think of Italian foods, there's a lot of herbs we can incorporate. And so those are great to grow in pots. They're great to grow in small spaces because they don't need a lot of space. So really, I tell people to identify what are your favorite meals, and let's pull out those spices first and grow those first, especially people that are just beginning. So take a look at your 10 top favorite recipes. What are they calling for? And let's go try to grow those outside. And even juicing, if you're a juicer, parsley is great to throw through the juicer. Certain things like that. People who have smoothies, it's a great way to throw some of that in also. So they're more versatile than we realize, and in just the spice shaker.
Okay. I love that. And I didn't even think of like having pots with herbs in them. I go to the store for dill and sometimes they're out and I'm frustrated. So I love the idea. Wow, I could have it on my deck, basically. That's super cool.
Yeah, and think too, you're getting that tiny little container for a couple dollars every time. The plastic, we don't know where it came from, how long it's been sitting in there. And we want the highest quality food we can feed ourselves. So you'll get into a habit where you're like, oh, great, I get to run outside and sniff this and sniff a little of that. and then it becomes second nature. You tend to just
Oh,
live like that.
I love that. So this is so cool. So you're, you know, you not only make these beautiful gardens, you know, that people can have in their homes, but you also are a coach. You know, you're so into healthy living and eating. Can you talk about how you get people? I mean, you're already getting me excited about more possibilities with delicious, healthy foods. How do you kind of transition somebody who's on an unhealthy diet into this kind of lifestyle?
So great question. We'll do like a little pre-coaching call. So again, we're going to
Okay.
talk about what is the health goal? Have you worked with a practitioner that is encouraging you to incorporate certain things, and can we grow those things? What are the things that you already are eating? So let's grow those, because we know you're going to eat those, and add one new thing every time we plant. So really kind of just slowly growing into it. Some can be a confidence issue. I hear, I have a black thumb, I have a black thumb. There's no such thing as a black thumb, you know. And then I'm going to make some suggestions also. Like, I think we can add this and this based on what you're telling me, or people won't eat green things, or some people, you know, the root vegetables, a beet's hard to eat. So let's talk about how different ways to prepare it. And so you might enjoy it more. I think that's the thing. We've had something one way and we get this thing in our head, right? Like we don't want to ever try it again because it was so awful or distasteful.
Right.
And so rethinking, like beets, I don't love them, but if I boil them and put them in a smoothie with some dark cherries, different story, right? So getting creative and just reteaching ourselves different ways to integrate the foods, and to make sure we're eating color. I really try to encourage that we're eating the rainbow. So what colors can we keep adding or growing deeper into?
I love that. Do you do any dehydrating of foods, or do you recommend dehydration?
So I do a lot of freezing. We will dehydrate some stuff. I do a lot of freezing. Even my herbs, I'll vacuum seal and freeze them because they stay green. I will dry some stuff for teas. So think about that. Even herbs, maybe you're a tea lover. So let's grow different types of, you know, you have a little tea garden, for example, and then we're still working that in. So dehydrating, freezing, canning, all great ways to keep them. Even freezing your herbs in some little olive oil cubes in the freezer, so you can pull them out and toss them with your roasted vegetables. Or,
Ooh, that's a cool idea. Will you wait, don't brush over that. That's cool. Let's dig into that. What is that?
Yes. So I will chop up my favorite herb profiles. I love tarragon and a few other deep flavors. So I'll chop them up, makes a batch. I'll either mix them in with the grass-fed butter, or I'll do an olive oil or avocado oil, and I'll put them in a silicone ice cube tray. And so they're in the freezer. So anytime I need to quick throw some flavor into something, or I'm roasting something, I can pop a cube out. I know the herbs came from my own garden. They're healthy, they're clean, and it's convenient. And again, I'm still bringing that garden to my table, even in the off season.
Wow, that's a really cool pro tip. I love that. Just don't put it in your seltzer water.
Yeah.
Super cool. Okay. So I love these tips. I think they're great. I love the idea of tea and making like your own herbal tea. So there's so much love and care, right? Like this is how we can love ourselves. People ask me, how do I increase my self-esteem? Well, first of all, do self-esteemable acts, one of which is put love and care in what you put in your body and preparing things. You know, we all feel busy. I have that tug on my, time where I'm like, I don't have time for this. But it always relaxes me. Like when I cook with my partner, our mood gets better. Like when you take the time to cook together, to do the herbs, follow the recipe, there's just something self-loving about it.
It is. It's a great way to nurture yourself. We don't even realize how important that small act is.
Yeah.
But I think some of it is, we've lost it a little bit. We've had convenience foods are great. We all need them. But I think there's time to get back and just kind of, like you said, self-love, dig a little deeper and take the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you talk about some of the products that you have on your website and sort of how people can start to enjoy what you teach. First of all, I have to put a big plug for your Instagram. It's beautiful. I love looking at your photos with the gardens and the flowers and the, obviously you don't have any snow pictures on there with
Not yet, no.
Wisconsin snow pictures, but I'm sure there's a time and a place for everything. So, but talk about kind of some of the products that you have that people can enjoy and also start to work with you.
Yes, of course. So our first thing we created was a garden to table guidebook. So it's over 150 pages, and it's my way to how to garden and grow with yourself. So we talk about the importance of your health journey in conjunction with how to grow. And because we all live in different geographical areas, it teaches you to identify what season you're in, how to grow, what you should grow within that season. And it kind of walks you through everything. And then it kind of transitions into garden to table recipes, all the ways to preserve your food, and it kind of finishes it at the table. So it's a great entry level into, just that garden to table experience. If that's the type of lifestyle you want to integrate, whether it's small or large, it works for any type of goal. And then we have a little mini course, which is some like videos, and then it has a little microgreen course for you, because it's a great way. Again, if you're short on space, microgreens are a great thing to introduce. And then we have a monthly garden to table membership where you can join, and with all type of guest topics from health and gardening and office hours. And it's a great little community.
Beautiful. I love that. I keep thinking how good this would be for kids too. What a beautiful education this would be for kids and grandkids to start learning about, what they can grow.
We have a lot of families. It's been to watch the transition, and the kids get so excited and to get involved in it and play in the dirt and be so proud of what they've grown, and they pick their veggies every year. And so it's a great family activity. And then again, they get to bring it into the kitchen and all cook together and be a part of that. And like you said, that's really important when it comes to that self-love.
So beautiful. Katie, will you tell people your Instagram handle so they can check out all the gorgeous photos you have on there and also contact you?
Yes. So it's Katie M. Oglesby. So it's KATIE MOGLESBY. And you can reach me at katieoglesby.com.
Okay, awesome. And then what's I know you have a little freebie for people. Can you describe that?
I do. So it's a salad and herb growing guide. So kind of what we talked to today, some recipes, how to get started, some education on our greens. And so you sign up, you'll get that. And then some free recipes come. And we have a great email that goes out every week with tons of tips and ideas to keep your journey going.
We'll put that in the show notes. So that's really helpful as well. Before we close this out, Katie, and thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing these yummy, ideas with us, and just sort of refreshing our brain about what's possible right literally in our home for fresh herbs and greens and other things too, like tomatoes. You're into tomatoes too?
Yes. Oh, yes. I have over 50 tomato plants. I love tomatoes.
Wow.
Yes. Anything. So again, and you can grow anything. You should grow what you love, and then again, grow into growing more.
Oh, I love it. This being the Heal Your Hunger show, my last question for you is what would you say is your deepest hunger?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say I'm always hungry to learn more. I think being a gardener, you're a forever learner. And I'm just hungry to keep diving deeper into the miraculous things about all the food, all of our different foods that we grow and what they can offer and how they support us in our lifetime. So.
Amen. So beautiful. Well, great to have you on the show. Thanks for bringing your passion. I can totally feel you, like you're really into this, and it makes me excited about it. And again, I'm looking forward to talking with you about what we can create for my rooftop. So thank you. And everybody, please check out, follow her on Instagram, check out her website, definitely get her a free gift, which is very generous. Katie, thank you. And let's grow together. How about it?
Yes, let's grow together. Thank you, Tricia, for having me.
Great to have you. Thanks so much.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.